What's going on, folks? Welcome to another Maryland Women's Basketball Recap, joined by Raymond Hines and Cardell WG. Wilson Tucker G. Look, top 10 matchup tonight at Xfinity Center out here in College Park, USC. Came to visit. They top Maryland 79-74. They handed the Terps their very first loss of the season. Before I even jump into anything, I want to hear what you guys had to think about this game. Obviously, it was highly built, prime time slot. Ray, your thoughts on this one and Nick Cardell?
Yeah, just tough overall competitive game. Maryland kind of let it slip away in the final minutes. I think all night USC's size was just kind of imposing. It caused a lot of problems for the Terps, especially on the glass. USC was able to capitalize on a lot of second chance opportunities and just kind of take control of the game from a physical standpoint. Early on, Maryland's defensive versatility kind of presented problems. I know we talked about that the last game. They threw a lot of different looks at Juju. Took her a while to get going. In Maryland, they basically played them to a stalemate up until those last couple minutes. But yeah, just some poor shot selection. Weren't able to capitalize on some opportunities at the end. And USC was able to. They made their way to the free throw line, and they just hit some big shots going down the stretch. Definitely a winnable game for Maryland. It sucks to see them get their first loss, but it's going to come eventually. But yeah, it's no surprise. USC, tough opponent. What they do well presented issues for the Terps, and yeah, they just got contributions from a lot of players outside of Juju who kind of struggled out the gate, but they were able to stay afloat. And Kaylee Eckel, man, she really kept them in it in the beginning. It could have got ugly early, but she was a spark off the bench, and USC was able to take it going away down the stretch.
Thoughts on this big matchup?
Like Pat Riley said, no rebound, no rings. In this case, no rebounds, no win. That's pretty much what it came down to. USC based with a more physical team, maybe more physical part of the battle in the front court for the most part. They dominated the Bulls 47-33. Had 16 offensive rebounds. Luckily for Maryland, it didn't translate to a lot of second chance points. Maryland won that battle. But I just feel like the front court, with Kiki and even Marshall, she didn't score a lot, but grabbing 15 rebounds and 4 blocks, she was a defensive monster, and that helped, especially down the stretch. That wears you down, and it helped down the stretch where you saw Maryland. They were getting in the paint, but they were blowing a lot of layups, and they needed every last one of those layups. And the thing about missing layups, they're damn near like turnovers in a sense as well, because when you miss that layup, 9 times out of 10. The other team is going to have numbers. They're going to have the advantage, and they're going to be able to control the pace, and they're going to be able to get the shot that they want. You know what I mean? So you have to convert that, every time you can. It's just no excuse for, in a sense, missing layups, man. And they paid for it. Maryland definitely did. Also, bench points, 22-9, USC. It's hard to overcome that in a game where, it's back and forth. Close game between two teams that could end up in the Final Four. You see what I'm saying? So, Maryland bench, you take away Bree Daniels 8 points, you get 1 point, man. It's just you gotta get more production. And USC had more balance. That's why offensively they didn't shoot the ball entirely well, but they shot better than Maryland. They were more efficient, 40% from the field. Neither team shot the ball well from 3, but 33% obviously beats 14%. You know what I mean? And then they got to the line 26 times and made 22 of them. And that's a testament to what I was saying. They were more physical in the paint. And I know it became a free throw game down the stretch, which helped stay calls, but still, you know what I mean? It's just they did the little things that help you win games better than Maryland did down the stretch. And that's just exactly what it comes to. I think for Maryland, honestly, outside of Dolce and Cheyenne, no one really had a good game. I know Schmickel hit some shots, but defensively, she missed a lot. Defensively, she was a step behind. She missed a lot of layups. Outside of that, Brie McDaniel, she was getting it going, but she was in foul trouble. Outside of that, you ain't really get much production, man. And against a team like USC with their size, you got to match their size with physicality. That's the only way. You know, I mean, you can't. You already smaller. You can't just let them bully you. You got to match that physicality. And I think for me, seeing Maryland, it was only a couple of players that kind of matched the USC's physicality overall, and that ended up being the difference in the game.
As you guys said, USC's late in the second quarter, early in the third. I think the first thing that popped in my head was just the big slowly starting to take control of the game, even as Maryland got off to that quick start in the second half. But you guys mentioned there were just more contributors overall for USC. We already know, you come to the table, you know Juju's going to make a splash, Kiki's going to make a splash, but you got key contributions. Kennedy Smith, Cardell, you mentioned Ray Marshall, the other big Clarice, just being active in her size helped at times when Kiki was in foul trouble. But really, Ray, you mentioned Kaylee Heckle, big in this one. Her and Kennedy Smith just took turns providing very timely baskets for USC. I think it was late in the third quarter. Maryland carved out like a 6 to 8 point lead. Kennedy Smith went on a little run, almost took away, ate up that deficit by herself. Just getting going, and those are the things where typically Maryland, we talked about this year. They've been able to rely on that balance, being able to come at people in waves. You had Christina, you had Shaw. They were able to score in the paint tonight. That was about it. We know Michael likes to get downhill. It's not happening against USC with that size and length. I think she was 6 for 21 tonight. Out of character, but shot selection matters. We talk about it on the other side. Another team we talk about on the men's side of things, but shot selection matters, especially down the stretch. There was a couple times Maryland felt like the game was kind of hanging in the balance. I think it was like 74-74, or I'm sorry, it was 74, but it might have been 77. Maryland gets 2 stops, and they got nothing on those 2 possessions. USC comes back, and Kiki scores inside. Back-to-back possessions. And like you guys were both talking about, that's the difference in close games. But you had like that 2 possession stretch. I think Saylor ended up taking an off-balance shot, and I think Shy rushed the shot. But those are the differences in close games. Like you said, we might have got a nice preview of 2 Final Four teams. I know Maryland probably doesn't. Nobody wants to hear that right now. But I think this is the closest game USC's been in since UConn. That's been probably a month or two ago. The last time a close game like that. But for Maryland, they got next to nothing from Allie Kubek, who's been reliable. They get anything from Allie. Christina was the only big that was fine tonight. Every other big on the team side. Taylor, I think, shot 1 for 5 from the floor, but she did hit the glass. They needed points for that, too. They needed something. Just didn't have enough. I want to ask you guys about playing again.
I'm gonna go with Kiki. Different. Obviously she closed the game with free throws. I just feel like she was the X factor. The 21 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block shot, but all the other shots she altered. Just being down there. And there was a play down here closer to our basket. I think it was a Smichael. I think she scored a layup, and they made contact, and she kind of gave Irfan a little forearm, and Irfan looked at the ref like, "You ain't see that?" And then she just said, "Okay," and then she proceeded to beast out for the rest of the game. And that was she literally was the difference down the stretch. You know what I mean? Especially with Juju being in foul trouble. Like, look, Maryland keyed in on them. They did. You got to get that onto them. Like 21 points. She had 21 and 9. She didn't shoot the ball well. She had 8 turnovers. It was just, it wasn't characteristic of what we've seen from her. But obviously, Maryland has a lot of top flight wings. What was the difference in the game overall was the front court. And I know Dolce balled, but USC throws multiple bigs at you that you got to deal with in various ways, man. Irreference the most polished, obviously offensively, and rebound. She can do a little bit of everything. Raya is kind of the dirty work big. They got other bigs that can come in and hold it down when they need a rest or if they're in foul trouble or whatnot. But down the stretch, you saw the one with the experience close the game and on both ends. She was the difference. Let me just throw this out there so people can understand what I mean by the physicality. When was the last time you saw Cheyenne Sellers not have a rebound in the game? See what I'm saying? Like that doesn't happen. She averages 4. All right. Cheyenne Sellers got to the line 11 times, 10 of 11. No other Terp even exceeded 5 attempts. That's physicality. That's imposing your will, and USC did it better than that.
Right.
Yeah, Kiki was definitely a difference. It was just the simple fact that at times they were able to just simply dump the ball down there and get something simple. They were able to get out of offensive droughts. I think at one point they went a little more than 2 minutes without scoring, but at that point they were able to settle down and just gave her the ball, let her go to work. And like Cardell pointed out, down the stretch, especially at the end of a game where you're tired and you've been beat on the whole time, it's hard to contend with that. And she was the driving force behind the win.
Yeah, I think the key thing to what you guys said is USC was able to get easy baskets because of their size. At times, Maryland just rarely got easy baskets. There was no dumping it down and getting an easy bucket. Even sometimes they scored in the paint, it was off of broken, like really broken plays. Bang, bang, haphazard things happening and things worked out. Outside of some of the straight line drives, like Cardell mentioned, nobody else being able to get the foul line is huge. Um, and USC did a great job of protecting the paint and not putting people on the line. That's hard to do. Cycling through bigs, but they did it, and Kiki was huge. X factor for the night.
I'm going with Heckle. She's big off the bench. Like y'all said in the first half, when USC can get anything going offensively, she's the spark. She's the spark, but she also controlled the game down the stretch, man. For a freshman, not the lights didn't get to her at all. Um, 10 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 turnover. 25 minutes off the bench, 4 or 5 from the field. If you didn't tell me, if you just came in and watched the game, you know, let's see point guard, man, she's good. I don't know why she's not starting, but she's good. You're like, nah, she's a freshman. You're like, what? She's special, man. Especially against the caliber of defenders that Maryland can throw at you on the perimeter. And she wasn't phased at all, man. She was on her weight around, made every read. And honestly, she controlled the game better than Maryland's more experienced guards did down the stretch. She was huge.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Spoke on Kaylee Heckle earlier, and yeah, the beginning of the game, she kept USC afloat when they were struggling, and also, we talking about Kennedy Smith's little spurt when Maryland carved out a little lead. I think all 3 of those baskets were off Kaylee Heckle assists. So, and then she was getting the ball immediately, looking up and kicking that thing ahead. And it just jump starting the offense. And that way USC was able to get a couple easy baskets off that as well. So, her contributions off the bench definitely was the X factor.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. Everything she did, it was just great timing. USC needed every bit of her contributions. Cardell, like you said, she did not play she played like the most poised guard on the floor down the stretch. She was just really solid, and they don't come to Maryland and leave without her having played those 25 minutes. Maryland's guards and they seem to bother a lot of other people. She was fine. She was unbothered the entire evening, and it goes a long way when I don't care who you are, you in an opposing team's building, and one of your you can have a primary ball handler just calmly handle everything. Like they were just in great hands down the stretch. Like clearly the ball needed to go to Kiki. USC got the ball to who it needed to get to every time down the stretch. Maryland at times sped up, just not together on their possessions. USC was very, very, very intent on what needed to happen, where it needed to go, and went a long way. But up next for Maryland, they're gonna go out to Wisconsin, and then they come back home to host Minnesota. So I'll check back in with you guys then. And for Ray, Cardell, myself, have a good evening.